Welcome back to the Muppet Monster Adventure Let's Play. In this part, we will be doing the first level of the Deadlands, which is Grave Matters. Now, this level is pretty interesting, because of one of the sort of like special features it has, which I'll get onto when we get to that part. Yeah, it's a graveyard level. So, surprisingly though, it's not really much to do with like, you know, haunted graveyards. It's just like a graveyard. Well, I mean, I guess it's haunted with the living like headstones, but other than that, we're like, instead it's just like, for some reason there's mummies and skeletons here, and I guess evil prospectors. The interesting thing with this game sometimes is sometimes the enemies are reused in certain levels, but that's because they tend to fit more than one theme. So at least they're not like out of place totally. Or sometimes a couple of levels are the same theme. It's like the castle level, like the first world is makes very good sense. In that you start on the outside of the castle, you end up going inside and then making your way down to the dungeon. This world's a bit more over the place, like all over the place. It's like there's a graveyard, and then we'll be going to like a desert area, and then a pirate area. But some worlds, like two of the levels, are sort of like they seem like they're based in the same sort of like place, and then the third one is just something totally different. Now the special thing with this level will be coming up soon. It's one of those cryptic things I was talking about earlier, where you actually have to, unless if like there's a guide or something you look up online beforehand, there really is no way of knowing about it, and you do actually have to use the coins and the gallery. I don't know if the game actually, like, maybe the manual talks about the gallery and stuff, but there's no mention in game about it. It's not even a like a Pepe to talk about like coins and stuff. So yeah, you have to glide onto this headstone, and then this is a fake wall. So 2 free lives and the final bit of evil energy. Possibly the only thing that gives it away is the broken window, and you can see through there, but you can't actually see anything in that window. Anyone would just think it's just part of the aesthetic. So yeah, there's no hidden hit point. So getting that's actually just a waste, but I'm just doing it anyway. As you can see, we're also fighting those skeletons that were charging at us in the last boss level. Yeah, the nice little gimmick is the electric water. They do think of some interesting like things for some of these levels. Like, it's not just like, oh, here's another enemy. It's like, here's an obstacle that you have to avoid, like a flaming like ball jumping out of the lava, or just electrified water. I'm not sure what use electrified water would be in a graveyard though, unless if it is just there to stop intruders. I suppose now would be a good time to bring up something fairly interesting. If you own a copy of this game, I suggest you look at your disc and think about what colour it is. Because actually there are two different versions of the disc. Even though the game wasn't like re-released or anything, it didn't get a platinum. I also thankfully they've added a little platform in case you fall down now, so you don't have to run all the way around. But yeah, there's two versions of There's two versions of the disc. Sorry. There's one where the disc is sort of light green, like the print on it, and then there's one where it's a dark green. So like the actual disc on the print has a picture of like Robin, and I think it's supposed to look like he's like going through the warp. But if you get the light green one, you can't really make out much on it. If you get the dark green one though, you can see pretty easily what's on the what's printed on. And the original disc that I had, the one that's really scratched and I can't play on anymore, is light green. And the one that I bought again, which is the one I'm actually playing on right now, it's the darker one. I'll probably put a picture up on the screen to show what I mean, but yeah, I just thought that was just some interesting trivia. I once mentioned it to someone else who owned the game, and they were like, I don't know anything about that. I don't know if that's real. And I said, oh, it is. I got 2 copies of the game. Now here's an interesting challenge. It's just a game of like Simon. The order is the same every time. It's not randomized, so you can actually just write down what they are, which is actually what I did for my speedrun. Is I just wrote down what the order was on a piece of paper, looked at it, and just so I could quickly go through each thing without having to think. The thing I don't get is, okay, when Pepe stood with someone, he gives he tells them to give a Muppet token if you do something for them, and the Muppet token comes out of them. But what about when he's just on his own, like then? Like, is it, you have to please this, multicolored, like, skull thing to get a token and they'll give it to me? Or is it just or is he just like holding it back from us? Because it's not like Spyro where Hunter's like, oh, I'll give you this thing, or oh, I happened to find this thing while you were doing something. So I don't know, maybe Pepe's not entirely on our side. I never really talked about swimming controls. They're actually pretty decent. They're quite like Spyro's. Not entirely. It's you hold X to swim, just like in Spyro, when underwater. But what Robin has is a boost and a attack. So instead of like charging underwater like Spyro can, he has a move where he goes. He has one like swift movement, and he goes pretty fast in the water. And then there's one where he goes nearly as fast but spins, but you don't actually go as fast in that one. But that's what you use to break open stuff and attack enemies underwater. Because there is actually one time where you have to use the boost instead of the spin attack. But yeah, this level's nearly finished, and
You have collected enough evil energy to
and we've actually opened up a level, the level after next, because we've collected that many pieces of evil energy. Yeah, that was Grave Matters. Yeah, nice little graveyard level. All good stuff. So with the next part, we'll be doing the desert level, Molten Mayhem. See you in the next part.